Check, check. About to go live in a second. Do I have an echo? About to go live in a second. Just trying to get my sound right. I'm going to get into this DeSantis and Trump discussion. Can't hide from it anymore. About to start in just a second. Hang tight. Hopefully there's no echo. I'm hearing an echo. Hopefully that's just me. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. I'll turn the music down in a second. Thanks so much for joining. This is Osiris Stuck in the Middle, and I want to get on this Trump discussion. We're seeing polling out of New Hampshire that is causing a big stir, and I would like to send this message out. This is not against Trump or anybody else or Trump supporters. Trump, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. If you make this hard, it's kind of funny. This is a transfer of power is really what we're seeing here within MAGA. I don't even know if Ron DeSantis would describe himself as MAGA, but that's basically what's happening. You know, a few months ago, I wouldn't describe myself as MAGA. So he's being embraced by MAGA. Let's just say that. So if you handle this gracefully, Donald, then your legacy will be sealed. No matter what, Donald is a living legend just alone based on 2016. That will never change. But if he handles this gracefully, he will just cement that legacy. If he does not handle this transfer of power gracefully, then he will hurt his legacy. And I don't think he needs to do that. I hope he doesn't make this harder than it needs to be. If you handle this gracefully, you will still be the Don Dada. You will be the Don Dada forever. The grandfather, the face of America First, the one who defeated Mrs. Cabal, Hillary Clinton. That's how people will remember you. We won't remember you for being the feckless one when the pandemic hit. So it's up to you, Trump, how you want to be remembered at this point. You can help Ron DeSantis. You can help the movement. You can be that, what was the dude on Ninja Turtles? Was it Splinter, the rat? You can be the one that helps the turtles continue on. That's where I think you would want to be. I know this is as silly as me asking for a peaceful divorce. I know it's a low chance of happening, but I still want to ask of it. And this is going to be a good test for Ron DeSantis as well. I think what we are experiencing is a transfer of power, and it only makes sense. So, Donald, do you want to be the Don Dada, or do you want to be persona non grata? That's the decision you have to make at this point. And it's really up to you. I think Ron DeSantis is going to make some very good political decisions. I'm just speculating here. I think Ron DeSantis is going to make some good political decisions here. I think what he's going to do is say, he's going to get the message out. I don't even know if they can even talk. I don't know how cool they are or not. I think he's going to get the message out to Trump. It's my time. I want to avoid a MAGA civil war. So, Daddy Don, what do you need from me as I go in and I will take over in 2024? and I'm being optimistic here because I don't know if there's going to be a midterm election, much less a 2024. Do you think that they're going to let a red wave come into the House, even if they can't remove Biden? Are you going to do you think that they are going to let MAGA just come on in, or a MAGA influenced party come on in and impeach Biden without locking people up or doing something? I don't know. So I'm being optimistic looking at 2024. I know it's way out, but this is a white pill thing to even think about it like it could happen with no martial law restrictions or something crazy happening. Do you think they're going to allow that to happen easily? Yes, America is going to turn red again. That's for sure. If we have elections with integrity, that's for sure. So no. So Trump, you will play a role in helping that transition. The decision is underway right now, and it needs to be made. People are tired of having to help Donald Trump through these unbelievably stupid endorsements. I've been hesitant to comment on some of this stuff because I'm like, is there 3D, 4D, 5D chess being played that I'm going to come out with a video and then look like an idiot when I see, oh, he was really trying to do this. Now, that could still come out, but I haven't seen it. And it's not making any sense to me. The most recent endorsement, so this is why the transition's happening. This most recent endorsement was Trump with Kevin McCarthy. So he endorsed Kevin McCarthy. Recently, just today, I don't think he walked it back, but he's trying to say, hey, McCarthy didn't do this right because he got feedback on it. So Trump will adjust with feedback. There's no question about that. But I think a lot of people are getting tired of that. Because when I look at his first term, I was hoping that he would have learned something. And the biggest lessons, his first term was actually not bad. He didn't get much done with the legislatively, but it's really hard right now. The end with the pandemic is the lesson that I don't think he learned. He didn't fully learn that lesson. After his first term, people are still having to kind of say, whoa, easy on the promoting this type of drug. We're not really, if you need it, you can take it, but we don't want to see any promotion of it. We want to talk about freedoms. And then he kind of pivoted a little bit, but that was after his first term had been over, well after. He hasn't learned anything. I'll share the article from today with Trump. So this is not going to be a bash Trump thing. This is first for me. Thank you, Florida. Thank God. Well, I want to say, I'm talking about Andrew. The news came out today about the charges on Andrew Gillum, and I just want to tell Florida, thank you. I know Trump was a part of that. Trump endorsed DeSantis, and Trump took, of course, in very Trumpian fashion, he took credit for it. DeSantis probably didn't like that too much, but that's how it is. Herschel Walker, that's what it is. Let Daddy Don take credit for it. Who cares? Put your ego aside. So this isn't going to be a Trump hate. What this is appreciation for where Ron DeSantis has come. I'll be honest, I still don't fully trust him, but that's in my head. I can't really, well, I do have a couple things I'll do in a separate video where I'll articulate some problems with him, but nothing that's going to be, at this point, shaking me. Most of this live is going to be based on this New Yorker article that I thought was excellent. I don't read the New Yorker much. I think they had one piece on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was the last time I read it, and it was a puff piece. I didn't expect them to have this piece on Ron DeSantis, so I don't know. Are they trying to root this on, or I don't know. But this came out today. Trump says McCarthy fumbled January 6th committee appointments, and I'm bringing this up because Trump endorsed McCarthy, and now we're seeing this. I'll go through it. I don't know if you will call it a pivot. but we're seeing this kind of correction, I would say. Oh no, Lisa, don't do that. Lisa, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming to the live. This is, thank you. I know this is, and I don't blame you. Because if I was in Florida, I probably would say, nah, y'all go with Trump or somebody else. Keep our governor here, because you guys have become like the United State of Florida, the great Florida Republic, or the great Florida territory where you've got DeSantis has some libertarian leanings. He's not a libertarian, obviously. He's done some authoritarian type things, but his philosophy, I think the authoritarianism is him fighting back. It's like if somebody hits you with a jab, you hit a jab back. I'm not a fighter, but I might have to throw a little hand. So I understand, Lisa. But Lisa, I want to thank you for not allowing Andrew Gillum to win. You all did that. He almost won that race. Jeez. And I tweeted he was the first black candidate for Florida. And I was like, well, being the first of some type of identity doesn't mean that you're the right pick. So I have a radical idea. Maybe we should judge people not on the color of their skin, but the content of their character. I don't know. I just call me a radical. But Lisa, no, let's not do that. Thank you. We thank you for bringing DeSantis up, and you get credit for kind of his rise as well. But he's needed for a higher calling now. We have a country to save, Lisa, and we appreciate you. I thank you in advance for your understanding. But he's going to have to move on to bigger and better things to protect us all. So I'm going to get into this a little bit. It's interesting. Message to the melanated family. We are not from Africa, y'all. Please do some research on your family land patents. Interesting comments there. But this is why I was talking to somebody about the Democratic presidency before I get into this McCarthy thing. The Democrat who's going to run for office. And I was like, you know what? There's a lot. Katie Porter has a lot of problems on Ukraine, and there's other problems. But there's a lot of good things I like about Katie Porter. So I was like, okay, if Biden's not going to run, do you like Katie Porter? I just threw it out there. And then I was like, I like Jimmy Dore. What about that? Then somebody came back at me and they were like, Biden has done so many things for black people. And then I was like, well, you know what? If that's your focus, you're not going to like, and I'm not talking about you, Uni RTV. I'm just talking about in general. If that's your focus, you're not going to like where I'm going with this, because I'm looking at content. I'm not looking at gender. I'm not looking at skin color. When you look at content, I'm going to go through this New Yorker article that does a great job laying out some of the big things, not even all the small things he's done. He has a lot of substance behind him. He's been able to raise money and then push back against that money. Ron DeSantis. That's a skill you don't see many politicians have. So I'm excited about this. What about Kamala 2024? A joke. It might be her. I don't know. I think she's obviously going to try and run, but she's a joke. But going back to this article here with Trump, Trump says McCarthy fumbled January 6th committee appointments. So McCarthy declined to put GOP members on the Jan 6 committee after his first picks were rejected. I actually think McCarthy handled it right, but maybe there's something I'm not familiar with. But if you don't know, McCarthy had, I forgot everybody who was on there, but the big name was Jim Jordan. He's a force to be reckoned with. He does his homework. So they definitely didn't want Jim Jordan on this committee. So McCarthy said, if you're not going to put the people I put up for you, then I'm not going to put anybody up here. Because typically the way the House operates is you honor whoever the minority party wants to put up there, so you can really say it's bipartisan. Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger are not bipartisan. So Trump says it would have been better if he had placed pro-Trump Republicans on the panel. So when the committee was formed, like I said, McCarthy proposed the inclusion of Jim Jordan, Jim Banks, and others. And then Trump said, in retrospect, I think it would have been very smart to put Republicans on the committee. And again, I wasn't involved in it from a standpoint, so I never looked at it too closely, but I think it would have been good if we had representation. The reason I'm bringing that up is I think he got feedback on the McCarthy endorsement. It was a ringing endorsement. It was very strange. And I think he's trying to pivot a little bit away from that. And in pivoting away from it, he doesn't even understand what happened. That's not how Ron DeSantis operates. When the pandemic went down, I was blue-pilled. And I was watching actually Cuomo, because I thought Cuomo was doing a good job. He had his PowerPoints. He had his little jokes in there, his little New York style. I thought he was great. And little did I know that there was stuff happening in senior nursing homes. And looking back at it, at the end of a lot of those press conferences, somebody was always asking about, what about the nursing homes? And he would get a little tense, and I would just ignore it because I'm like, oh, I'm sure he's handling it well. Ugh. But I started switching over to Ron DeSantis. Now, he didn't have his meetings as much, but on YouTube, you could see his meetings on there. And he was handling the stuff very well. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I hate to say this, but the most likely outcome is that this will be a MAGA civil war because Trump doesn't back down. So somebody get to him. And then even if Trump backs down, you've got people in the party, and a lot of people might not want to hear this name, but because I bring it up a lot because I think this dude is very influential and very smart, a marketer. He has some power. Why do you think they put him on the no-fly list? He was banned on the no-fly list. He didn't break any laws. His philosophy, his ideas were just too resonating with too many people, and they had to. Well, they didn't say that, but why else would they do it? He had nothing but ideas from his head. It's almost like he was the Riddler in Batman. He's like, he didn't really even do anything other than have ideas in his head and manipulate people, or the Joker. And that thought was so powerful, they put him on the no-fly list. I'm talking about Nick Fuentes. The energy from the party on that side, or whatever side he's on, is serious. And he is 100% in on Trump. He's honest about Trump and how Trump was not as good in 2020 as he was in 2016, but he's still a Trump dude. He has the energy of the young part of the party. Why do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene went to speak at AFPAC 3? She went there because she knew there's energy there. Getting in touch with young people is more important than anything right now. That's why the culture wars matter. And the fact that DeSantis is so good at the culture wars, that's why people, right now on the left hate him a lot. But there's energy there that will be against DeSantis. So there's going to be MAGA, I don't know what it's going to look like, but even if Trump acquiesced, it would be a MAGA civil war. So I don't fully trust DeSantis, but I still have to articulate some of the reasons why, but I'm still excited about this. And why I'm excited about this is because you might bring it up like, well, I thought you were for Comic Dave Smith. I am for Comic Dave Smith. When we look at people running for politics or anything in life, we need options. That's what we need. So if I go into a store and there's only one brand of peanut butter and there's no other competition, kind of like what's happening with the baby formula, there was like one plant that did most of it, and then there was two other plants that didn't really do much. They were just there for show, it looked like, to make it look like it wasn't a monopoly. When you don't have choices, you get bent over. That's the problem. That's why they allowed social media companies to buy up everything. Google could buy up YouTube, and everybody consolidated into just a couple top people. And only the top people have control. So you don't have many options. I'm still using DuckDuckGo. I don't want to use them because they sold out or were never worse. So my point is, what makes me excited is if Jimmy Dore is running for real, there's a lot to like there. Nobody's perfect. There's a lot to like there. Populist left. If Comic Dave Smith announces he's running for office. There's a lot to like there. This is affecting, even if they don't win, they are affecting the message, the culture. I'm jumping on Dave Smith and talking about him to you, and other people are talking to me about him. That's worth something. So when you look at it, you might have Jimmy Dore running. You might have Andrew Yang running, even though I call him Yang bitch now, just because he just, I don't want to digress. So I still like his ideas. So you've got Jimmy Dore, Comic Dave Smith, Andrew Yang, Ron DeSantis. The options are looking better. I know the odds of people, some of these people I'm naming winning is low, but this is better than Joe Jurgensen. We're rising on up. Comic Dave Smith's not going to have what is Aleppo moment. We are making progress step by step by step. So I'm not saying I'm going to vote for who I'm going to vote for or not. As of right now, I'd still vote for Comic Dave Smith, but he hasn't even announced yet, really. I'm excited about these options. Let's go. Ultra Dark MAGA in the chat. Boycott China. Thank you. I need to do an Ultra Dark MAGA shirt. Let's go. This is a white pill moment. And then the deal, Elon, the deal might go through. I think the problem with the Elon deal, just to digress for a second, is the price he offered is now way too high. He has not said that. This is me speculating. And I think he kind of wants to back out of that. And then there is some truth too. I don't know if those bots are for real, but I think so. I don't know if the deal is going to go through, but the board approved it. So you look at this. You've got Comic Dave Smith, Jimmy Dore, Andrew Yang, and for governor, Larry Sharp, and all these good things. Ron DeSantis stepping up. If Elon Musk is able to get Twitter, there's a platform that might be able to be used like it never was before. Now that's probably going to happen too close to the midterm. It won't. I don't know if it would affect the midterms, but if it happened, but it would help 2024 potentially. So we're looking at a lot of good things before I get into this New Yorker article. So we're getting better options. We're not getting Mike Pence running. I mean, he might run, but he has no chance. We're getting better options. Even if you put Trump in that list, primarying as a primary, DeSantis versus Trump, you still have got better options right now. So that's why I'm excited about this. How old is Donald Trump? We got to get younger blood in there. I forget is he 76, I think? Let me look that up real quick. Donald Trump age. He is 76. So he's going to be damn near 80. I mean, he's going to be close to where Biden is now when he would run. We need younger blood. We need younger people. Ron DeSantis is 40. I think he's younger than me. Ron DeSantis is 43. He's a little bit younger than me. I'm 44. That's a prime age. I think he's getting right up into his 50s. Oh man, he's got some wisdom and the energy. It's time. And if he won, he would get potentially 8 years. Like, do you really want to put through all that effort of Trump? And then he only gets 4. Now, if he did well, it probably would be a smooth transition, but it just makes more sense. Lock in at 8 with a younger, in his prime DeSantis. That's a no-brainer right now. We've got to be smart. And Ron, go make a deal with Trump. Go talk to Trump, sit down and tell him, I'm taking this over. What do you want from me? I'll do it. And then I'll get your support. Here's how do you hold me accountable? If I don't do it, you're still influential. You can make my life a living hell. The other part of this is nobody energizes that side more than Trump. That's why people like Bill Barr were able to try and sell people. Like, people went to the ballot in the swing states, and some of the swing states, 75, 50,000 people go all Republican except Trump on the ballot. he can go ahead and try to sell that because he's like, a lot of people didn't like Trump. People look at Glenn Youngkin in Virginia and say he distanced himself from Trump and he won. So people are saying, and they might have a point, I don't know if they're right or wrong, Dr. Oz reportedly today took Trump off of the front of his website. I think that's a bad look. If you're going to run based on your Trump association, then stick with that. Because what I'm seeing now is if you get in office, I don't know where you're going to be. So nobody energizes that side more than Trump, so much so that you've got someone Trump just endorsed, took his name and face off of his own website. Trump is a little toxic and he amps them up. So I don't have a problem with Trump, but he amps them up to that Trump. You know what happened in 2016? He took out their girl. He took out Hillary Clinton politically. Even after she did all that Russiagate stuff, he still won. So if you don't, oh, thank you, Boycott China. I'll probably dip out for salty cracker too after I'm done. So you can't fake the energy, that the hatred that they have for Donald Trump with these other candidates. So that's how you could say Biden won. You put Weekend at Bernie's up there and they have all this hate against Trump. They'll vote for anything. So there's a lot of different reasons here. Let me go to this New Yorker article. I thought this article was excellent. It was just such a good read. I'm going to see if the audio works. I like doing this audio. Let's see. Let me know if it's whack or what. But let me start this off. They really paint a picture of him, and it's not really that negative. They're really, there's little hints of negativity there, but it's not bad at all. And I'm going to use the audio to play it. It starts out with the pandemic, and great place to start. That's where Ron DeSantis truly shined.
Autumn presents
Profiles, published in the print issue of The New Yorker with the headline Party Crasher, written by Dexter Filkins, read by Eduardo Ballerini. One Sunday afternoon in September 2020, Jay Bhattacharya, an epidemiologist at Stanford University, was at home in Los Altos when he got an unexpected call. It was Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, and he wanted to talk about the coronavirus. In the early months of the pandemic, Bhattacharya had established himself as an outlier among public health experts. He is one of 3 scientists who drafted the Great Barrington Declaration.
So Ron DeSantis reached out to him. Ron DeSantis proactively reached out to, if you follow Jay on Twitter, he's still on Twitter. I don't know how he's able to stick around. He's one of the people who's been against the cabal narrative on the pandemic. So he was like a person that if you were a public official, you would never reach out to. So that's why it's like he was very surprised by this. But Ron DeSantis did reach out.
Which argued that many governments were doing more harm than good by shutting down economies and schools. The only practical approach, they said, would be to protect the most vulnerable, mainly by isolating the elderly, and allow everyone else to go about their lives until vaccines and herd immunity neutralized the disease. With COVID-19 killing hundreds of Americans every day, the signers of the declaration became pariahs in their profession. "I've lost friends," Bhattacharya told me. "I'm lucky to have tenure." DeSantis, young and aggressively confident, was similarly convinced that he could find a better way to handle the virus. Talking with him, Bhattacharya was surprised by his command of the research. He'd read all the medical literature, all of it, not just the abstracts, he told me. The science, though, remained unclear. Did the virus linger on surfaces? Did it travel in droplets or in a fog? And many politicians found that the most appealing solutions were the ones that fit their ideology. For DeSantis, who espouses a libertarian vision of small government and personal freedom, the ideas in the Great Barrington Declaration resonated. In his view, the government, apart from protecting the elderly and making treatments available, should do almost nothing.
Talk about bars. So we look at what happened in 2020 and what was Trump's biggest failure. It was as soon as 2020 hit, he couldn't handle it. And I have never really blamed him for that because everyone was against him. But at the exact same time, you had Ron DeSantis, who did his own research, searched out his own people, talked to his own sources, and he originally did lockdowns for, I think it was 3 weeks, they'll say in the article here in a second, for 3 weeks, and then he said, no, that's not the way. No one else, I don't think anybody else in the country did that. I don't think any other executive in the country did that. That's his campaign ad right there. He doesn't need to do what that Eric Greitens did, busting through a door with the Navy SEAL team. That's a real ad where he really fought for your freedom on a political level. I'm pro 2A. I don't need to see a gun in your political ad. That goes for you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or anybody else. I know it's good for commercialization and all that, but I don't need that. What I need is proof that you would or will, or even better, have fought for freedoms. That is a guy who has on his resume, when everybody in the world was against where he was, he fought for freedom for Florida. That's why Lisa earlier in this chat was like, no, you can't have him. Yeah, we're going to need him. That's for damn sure.
Initially, as the virus began spreading in Florida, DeSantis had ordered a statewide lockdown in accordance with Dr. Anthony Fauci's recommendations. 3 weeks later, he changed his mind. "We will never do any of these lockdowns again," he said. After talking to Bhattacharya, he lifted nearly all remaining restrictions on schools, government buildings, stores, restaurants, and other private businesses, and halted the enforcement of mask mandates. As the death toll mounted, he was mocked by critics as Death Santis and denounced by the mainstream press. "Any public distrust of this administration has been well earned," the Miami Herald editorial board wrote. "We can't trust the governor with our lives." A former political advisor with knowledge of the COVID response told me that DeSantis was unfazed. "We were getting crucified, but to him it was just noise." DeSantis revels in defying what he sees as a corrupt and self-satisfied liberal establishment. Those who work closely with him say that he is unique among elected officials in his disregard for public opinion and the press. "Ron's strength as a politician is that he doesn't give a fuck," a Republican consultant who knows him told me. "Ron's weakness as a politician is that he doesn't give a fuck. Big donors, he doesn't give a shit. Cancels on them all the time." DeSantis is a...
Woo! This is in the New Yorker. This is from the New Yorker, in the New Yorker. So I don't know if this is a concern. I don't know the New Yorker well. I always thought they were an establishment rag. Maybe this is a conservative writer. I don't know. But as the death toll mounted, he was mocked. We all remember this. It just happened, and he was labeled as Death Santis. All this pressure from his donors and everybody. Like, you're not going along. You're taking a risk. Imagine if you just at your job, the relationship isn't boss with the federal government and the state, obviously, but it's kind of similar where it's like your boss says, no, we're all doing this. We're all locking down. And everybody in the world damn near is locking down. Trudeau and all the people who want to be president are all locking down everywhere. Abbott locked down in Texas. Everybody locked down. Italy locked down. The whole world locked down. And DeSantis was like, nah, that don't make no sense to me. That's who we want to run. That's why I'm excited. Because on this topic, he and comic Dave Smith would agree. Who else would agree? Jimmy Dore would agree. And they're all, you got left, you got libertarian, and you got, I would call him authoritarian, but I was going to call him an authoritarian libertarian. They're going to kill me for, people who value liberty would kill me for that. I think Ron DeSantis is an authoritarian libertarian. He wants to He wants to force his libertarianism on you. But I'm good with that. And Nick Fuentes, if you call him far right or whatever you call him, white nationalist, not in a racist or bad way, but he would agree too. On the fundamental issue, we have to agree on that. Tulsi Gabbard would agree on that. I don't know where Yang stands on that. I have to look that up. How could you not be excited by that? DeSantis revels in defying what he sees as a corrupt and self-satisfied liberal establishment. Those who work closely with him say that he's unique among elected officials in his disregard for public opinion and the press. Ron's strength as a politician is that he doesn't give a fuck. And Republican consultants who know him told me his biggest weakness is that he doesn't give a fuck. That's what we want. Big donors, he doesn't give a shit. Cancels on them all the time. So when you looked at Disney, I was like, where did this come from? It makes perfect sense now. If you look at it, he has the cojones. And remember what happened with Disney. They wanted to get into the culture wars. And Ron DeSantis says, I'm not your average politician. I'm not Donald Trump. You fuck around, you will find out. And they did, real quickly. Man, this guy, there's a lot to like. That's all I'm gonna have to say. I've gone back, chatted back and forth with one of my favorite writers, editors, Cassandra McDonald, on this, and I think she's kind of shaky on him too. But I was shaky on him too, and I was like, I think we just got to go along for the ride at this point.
The approach to the pandemic gave rise to an entire governing strategy, in which he regularly denounced some outrage, invariably perpetrated by the left, and proclaimed that he was the only one brave enough to stop it. He laced his speeches and press conferences with anger. When he walked, he thrust out his chest like a soldier on parade.
So here's a little bit of that hate from the article. He had anger in his press conferences. The anger was to match the energy of the media. You remember 60 Minutes did a stealth edit on him. They're doing all kinds of hit pieces, all kinds of disingenuous statistics, obviously call him Death Santis. So what he said was, just like Trump kind of paved the way here, then you want to get nuts, let's get nuts. That's what that was about. It wasn't like coming out of like he's just a naturally angry guy. It had to be like that. Vernon Jones, Carrie Lake, they're following the platform of the media is disingenuous and we are not going to have genuine conversations. I will mock and ridicule you. Carrie Lake came out with the comment on the Hunter Biden stuff when a reporter came at her. Vernon Jones I think reporters don't even want to test him anymore because they know what's coming back. So I'm perfectly fine with that. Don't let that, won't let anybody in this live probably, but don't let that trick you.
Parade. He became a regular on Fox News, second only to Donald Trump as a figure of admiration. His aggressive defense of minimal state action and his denunciations of anyone who disagreed with him made him a conservative folk hero. DeSantis faces re-election later this year, but his ascent has been so dramatic that in a few polls he comes out ahead of Trump in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. Without Trump, he commands a big lead. Both men claim to channel the rage of an electorate that feels sneered at and dismissed by liberal institutions. But while Trump, with his lazy, Barnum-esque persona, projects a fundamental lack of seriousness, DeSantis has an intense work ethic, a formidable intelligence, and a granular understanding of policy.
That was shady.
Articulate and fast on his feet, he has been described as Trump with a brain.
No lies.
In February, DeSantis appeared at the Conservative Political Action Conference, held at the Rosen Shingle Creek Hotel, a sprawling resort near Orlando. The convention halls were filled with the party's new vanguard, which was, on the whole, poorer and angrier than the bankers and golfers who led the GOP a generation ago. The panels ranged from outraged to vengeful. A healthcare panel was called Obamacare Still Kills. A discussion of COVID-19 policy was titled Lockdowns and Mandates. Now do you understand why we have a Second Amendment?
Based.
From the main stage, DeSantis flashed a smile and tossed baseball caps into the crowd.
So I'm going to cut it off here because I have a hard out at 6. I want to get some comments from people. That's why I'm excited. It's not complicated. It's right there for us. Let me know, what can we do? Florida here. Amy, Florida, can I talk to you? We need your governor. Are you okay with that? Let me know. Bishop, what's up? Bishops came through, texting here with our mostly useless. Oh, no. Bishop. Oh, man. With our mostly useless, I'm going to add self-edit. It's better than Newsom, though. Oh, man. Thanks for the comment, though. Yep. Let me say, Nate says, cut the check. I think that's the first cut the check we've had in the chat. Angel Dog 4, can't trust media, politics, government. We need to get back to the Constitution. We, the people, need to take our country back and end the Emergency Powers Act. Biden even just said there's another. I saw that. I saw the headline. I didn't read that article yet. What was he talking about with another pandemic? I'll have to read that, man. Stuff is crazy. Thank you, Angel Dog 4. Absolutely. And what you know from DeSantis, I don't know if he still has his emergency powers. Has he given those up? I think he has. That's something I will have to look. I believe he has. I'm not sure. I need a website to tell me who has emergency powers and who doesn't. Which governors have given those up and who hasn't. I know Newsom still has his. But I think Ron DeSantis, obviously he's not for lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. So that's somebody you want in the office for president. So good. Dina Marie. Is Dina Marie in the chat? What's up? Dina Marie? Nope. Florida wants to keep DeSantis another term. No, no. Friend of show. No. Dina, we gotta work something out. He will be our president. Can we just do that? And who would take over in Florida? Man. DeSantis, I think DeSantis would have to figure out who would be his, who would he try to anoint as his successor. That would be another part of this. He can't leave Florida in the balance, hanging. So, yeah, Dina, we got to work something out. The country needs him. Maybe Trump could run for governor. We could trade Trump for DeSantis. Can Trump run for governor of Florida? That would be funny as hell. Yeah, Trump pushed the V. He did, and he still did after his first term. He pushed it. So, and I just ran down just a general overview, not even a deep dive into what Ron DeSantis did at that moment. I mean, there's nobody more qualified. Thanks, nice to see you, Dina. Appreciate you with the super chat. Always good to see you. There's no one more qualified than Ron DeSantis. Who else has on their resume, I was an executive at the state level or higher, or a representative at the state level or higher, and I fought for people's freedom in the moment while everybody was against it. Yeah, I know, Nate. It's a little off topic, but that won't happen with Ron DeSantis. I do know, and I am not for I am not for any groups getting any reparations, including, it doesn't matter what the title of the group is, the identity. But I do agree with you. If those groups got reparations, then I have no argument not to say reparations for slavery. But I'm consistent, none. But yes, I think this is the moment to start the transition. I've been waffling back and forth. I got mad when he was like, he was like, but Fauci used to let me call him Tony. And I'm like, this ain't the right dude for the moment. And then he kind of recovered and the rallies came out and I was like, okay, it's Don Dada. He's back. And Letitia James recently, I think they had to drop the investigation, or what stage were they at? There's nothing there in New York. And then I was like, they keep trying to get him. They can't get him. He's going to run again. You can't stop him. And then now I've waffled again. I'm staying on this. I'm making a stance on this one. It's Ron DeSantis. At this moment, I always leave room to change. I don't think I'm changing back to Trump. That's for sure. It's Ron DeSantis now. It's his time. There's nobody is happier about this than every single person on the staff for Daily Wire. They are absolutely elated. Matt Walsh has been dropping hints for months like it's not Trump, it's DeSantis. It's not Trump, it's DeSantis. DeSantis is more his style, temperament. And here's another thing. Jared and Ivanka. I can't do it with them anymore. And Trump can't trust people. He can't put a staff together without people who are going to get him in his back. So he had to go with his family. And he would have to probably do it again. And I can't do it with them anymore. I can't do it with Jared. Jared took advantage of his role. I don't think he had the same passion for America First, MAGA. He's a business guy. He was like, how is this going to pay off for me? DeSantis has great people around him. I was just joking with somebody. I was like, we were talking about Michael Malice. How good would it be to have Michael Malice as press secretary? Like just slaying people. Because he's so witty off the top, But they have a good one too. What's her name? Is it Christina? Somebody help me out. What's the name of the Ron DeSantis? I believe first name is Christina. She's great. She's great. Pushar. Christina Pushar. She is great. She does not hold back. She fires off. So what my point is, he gets good people around him. He's got a good staff around him. If people don't act right, gone. No time for you. Yeah, who would it be? I have to think. I don't know. Who would it be? Somebody throw out some names for me. The first name that comes to mind is Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I think she's better in the House, actually, than vice president. I don't know, though. Maybe she would be able to make a transition. What do you think about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Maybe is she not ready? Is she too polarizing? Forget about what people think of her. That's the first name that came to my mind, was Marjorie Taylor Greene. Rand Paul? Interesting thought. That would be the most libertarian type of ticket we've ever had. I don't think either one of them are technically libertarians, but they have those leanings. What would y'all think about a DeSantis Rand Paul? Kristi Noem? Okay. I like her too. She's shown up well. That's for sure. You know who I like a lot, but she's already going to be doing, hopefully she wins in Arizona governor. Carrie Lake I like her presence. I like her philosophy. I think she's good. She's unproven. So Noem would be a much better pick. But just thinking off the top of my head who I like right now. It's a good question. I don't know if he would pick Noem or not. Any other ideas? I'll have to research that one. I don't know off the top of my head who DeSantis would pick as a running mate. DeSantis and Jim Jordan. I don't think Jim Jordan has some. You got to pass the vetting for it. I don't know if Jim Jordan could pass that. And you might have a better, more well-rounded type of approach if you went with Noem, with Kristi Noem. So I would pick Kristi Noem over that. Rand Paul, is Rand Paul a VP type of dude? He struggled when he had his presidential run. So I don't think DeSantis would pick him. But just forget about what people think of him or anything like that. I think there would be good picks. So I got a heart out dinner time with the family. Hope everybody have a good rest of your day. If you're watching Salty Cracker or Tim Pool or whoever, enjoy. I will be doing many more topics on this DeSantis situation. The deeper I dig into him, the more I like. And I'll end how I started. This is up to you, Donald. Mr. President Trump, this is up to you. Let's do this the easy way. Take care.